Hello, and welcome to INDS 140-01, Libraries in the World. I am glad that you have signed up to take this course. My name is Paula McGrew, and I will be helping you to examine and maybe expand your views about libraries. What are they? Why do we need them? As we begin, I would like to share some of my perspectives with you concerning libraries in my world. As of September 2017, I am Professor of Library Science and Director of Library Services Emerita and College Historian at West Virginia Wesleyan College. That is a fancy way of saying I have retired from administrative duties and have now more time to devote to my passion for teaching and telling the story of West Virginia Wesleyan College. Before that, I have been a student here, have received advanced degrees in Library Science and Communication Studies, and have worked as a professional librarian both at the college and elsewhere. I believe that we all have a story to tell, and each of our stories is unique. As Neil Gaiman says, the one thing that you have that nobody else has is you. Your voice, your mind, your story, your vision. So write and draw and build and play and dance and live as only you can. My professional career has included public libraries, school libraries, a health science library, a chance to work with students and faculty to be sure that they have the tools that they need to make their dreams come true. And I have learned skills that assist me in my latest passion, discovering the history of West Virginia Wesleyan College and telling the stories of those who have come before. My story has been involved with lots of different sorts of libraries, giving me a somewhat clear vision about what they are and what they could and should be. But where did it all begin? We lived more than a mile from our nearest neighbors out in the rural flatlands of Illinois in my early years, but through my books I was able to meet princesses and animals, to discover that the whole world did not consist of the cornfields that were all around my house. There were oceans and deserts, and children who were like me, but lived very differently. My dad calls this photograph Librarian in Training. When I was 5 years old, we moved to Charleston, West Virginia. One of the first things I discovered there was the Kanawha County Public Library. The entire third floor was filled with shelf after shelf of children's books, books just for me, books that I could borrow for free, and people who were very welcoming, and who did not laugh at me when I declared that I was planning to start at the beginning and read every one of them. Since I was 5 years old, I was allowed to borrow 5 books at a time, so I did. But when I came back the next week, there were even more books on the shelf. People had returned some and they had bought more. So I slogged along with this plan for a month or so, and then just threw caution to the wind and started exploring all of the shelves. Based on the things I had enjoyed and learned from my own books at home, I could hardly wait to see what kinds of things would be in all of these books. Soon it was time to start school. I still enjoyed reading, but now someone was telling me what I had to read. That, I discovered, was not as much fun as exploring for myself. I still read a lot in my spare time, though, and found that the characters in books I had read before had become part of me. My dad was a Methodist pastor, and we moved about every 3 years. Each time I would find that there was a public library waiting for me, and many of the familiar books and characters that I had come to know. As I graduated from high school, the only thing I knew for sure was that I wanted to go to West Virginia Wesleyan College. I had no idea at all about what I wanted to study there. My mother consulted the course catalog and suggested library science as an idea because she knew I loved to read. Best advice ever. Worst reason ever. Librarians are so busy doing things for others that it is hard to find time to enjoy the books for themselves. Thanks, Mom. After I graduated from West Virginia Wesleyan College and got my master's degree in library science at Rosary College, I became the teacher who read stories to children and suggested what they should read. Maybe this was a good fit for me after all. I also enjoyed sharing my old favorites with my children, and we discovered new ones together. When we moved to Bridgeport in 1995, I became the health sciences librarian at United Hospital Center. At this time, electronic books and journals were just beginning to be developed. It was a transitional time in libraries, and for me. In 2001, I returned to West Virginia Wesleyan College after 23 years, where I found that students were now using both print and electronic materials. This continues to be more true each year. In 2011, I was given the opportunity to travel to a most amazing seminar in Salzburg, Austria. Here, I stayed in a palace where parts of The Sound of Music were filmed, talked with a variety of library and museum leaders from around the world about the future of libraries and museums in an era of participatory culture. Wow! Many ideas that I had been formulating were confirmed by people whose work I had long admired. We all shared stories of frustrations and wonderful successes and came up with a new curriculum for studying library science around the world. To say that this was amazing would be to put it lightly. So let's get started. I look forward to sharing with you. I look forward to hearing your stories. I look forward to watching your perspectives change.